This is not, whatever, I'm just gonna keep going. If there is one thing an honest person cannot stand, it's being called a liar. I can't even tell you how many times people have commented, she's not a millionaire, she lives in an apartment, she's a liar, a thief, all this other stuff. My greatest personal attribute that I respect about myself the most is my integrity and my honesty. So, I don't know of any apartment complex who will allow you to take out a wall heater and put in a shelf. I've never seen an apartment complex with a front yard. Stay. I'm in my front yard. That's my driveway. That's my car. Here's my house. I'm not a liar. And a lot of you are probably saying, oh no, Prepper Princess, don't do that. That's not safe. Well, I just locked myself out of my house. That's awesome. I got in, thank goodness. I'm moving, everybody. This house was always meant to be a rental property. I'm moving in a week. 1 week. I'm all packed. Look, I'm gonna show you this. Let's go into my backyard. I don't know of any apartments that have backyards. Here's my laundry room with all my packed stuff. Now, this house is going to be rented fully furnished. I already have a renter who's gone through the process. I've got a property manager, an LLC, a statutory agent, $2 million of insurance. Not my money, that's insured for $2 million. Look, please, for the love of God, don't call me a liar. I've had a hard life. I've been stepped on, abused. I've had horrible, horrible jobs that underpaid me by thousands of dollars every year. I'm on YouTube now where it is just, you guys are seriously mentally hurting YouTubers, and then we are quitting left and right. We are publishing less content than ever before. And it's not because we don't want to teach you, it's because we are being mistreated to the point of insanity. Insanity. So I want to talk to you guys about my life. And I don't talk about myself on YouTube very often. I save that for my Patreon members. Let's start at the very beginning, okay? From age 5 to 12, I was abused as a little girl. And you know what kind of abuse I'm talking about that I cannot put in more detail. I was abused by my mother's boyfriend's brother. My mother was the most wonderful woman in the world, but she had horrible taste in men. Then from the age of 12 to 17, she had a different boyfriend who was, tattooed Harley guy in and out of prison on drugs, hard drugs. And I was physically and emotionally abused from age 12 to 17. So my entire childhood and teenage years was just abuse. That's all it was. I was just abused. And my mother was so busy because my father, he doesn't have the right to be called a dad. My sperm donor, left us when we were 2, and when I was 2, and moved back to Ohio And anytime my mom tried getting child support and took him to court and they deducted money from his paycheck, he would quit his job and move out of spite. When I was 12 years old, there used to be a law. I don't know if it's still a law now. There used to be a law that when a child turned 12, they could choose which parent they wanted to live with. And that's when my dad my father, my sperm donor, made contact. And we visited him 1 month every year until he died when I was 16. So out of 16 years, I spent a total of 4 months with my father. And he didn't even like me. I knew he didn't even like me. And I didn't even find out until 6 months ago that not only, I have a journal that was my mother's that I never found before, and I finally read through it. It had to do with the divorce. And Dad took everything from Mom. I'm taking the money, I'm taking the cars, I'm taking the house. Take it, just get out of my life. And then he said, I'm taking the kids, and my mom said, no, you're not. And he smiled and grinned and said, that's how I'm gonna get you. And then that law took effect where when you're 12. So that, I found out later that that's the only reason he made contact with us when we were 12, is so he could get back at my mother by trying to convince me and my brother to move in with him. He didn't even like me. Like, I know he didn't love me, but he didn't even like me. Come to find out just another 6 months or so ago that we have a sister. My brother and I have a half sister named Nicole. My dad cheated on my mom while they were married, and we have an older sister. So she is the oldest, and then my brother, and then me. So he had her out of wedlock. And we've been trying to meet her. We took a trip to Los Angeles a while back because she's a movie producer or TV producer. She's some Hollywood producer. And we went to try and meet her, and she canceled on us at the last minute. And I think me and my brother are like, yay, another sister, yay, woohoo, more family. And she doesn't look at it the same way. She's nervous and standoffish and kind of scared of adding all these new people into her family. But I do want to go into some other things. Is when I was 18, my mom started getting sick. She smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day. And she was born with asthma. So if anybody knows, if you have asthma and you smoke, it's like 10 times worse. And she died from everything that they warn you about on the side of a pack of cigarettes, from emphysema, COPD, chronic bronchitis, and then finally lung cancer. Lung cancer is what did her in. And from the age of 18 to 28, that entire 10 years, I lived in my own apartment, but I was only about a mile away from my mom. I should have just stayed at my mom's house, but I didn't. I had my own apartment, once with a roommate, and that was a whole other story, but then I got my own apartment. I stayed with my mom for 6 months to get debt free, and she wouldn't let me leave until I paid off my debt. So somewhere in there around age 21, 22, I stayed with her for 6 months, and then I got my own apartment. But all the while, I was taking care of everything. I was taking care of the house, the repairs, walking the dogs, grocery shopping for my mom, taking her to her appointments. I never missed a single cancer treatment. Making her bed, cleaning her linens, her oxygen concentrator, her prescriptions, you name it, I was taking care of it for 10 years. 10 years. I was working 2 jobs and working full-time helping my mom. And I never asked for anything, and I never would. My mother's love for me was unconditional. It's the only unconditional love I've ever experienced in my life. And, you know, she made mistakes with her boyfriends. And of course I have to forgive her for that because I love her. And she wasn't doing it viciously. She wasn't intentionally trying to hurt me and my brother. She was working so much, 12-hour days, including her commute, that she didn't really know the full spectrum of what was happening. My brother and I both got beat up every day, didn't want to go home. Sometimes I would go and sleep in the park just so I didn't have to go home, and I would wait until my mom got home because there was a little bit more protection when she was there. And the second boyfriend, I actually looked him up, which is pretty sad. I shouldn't have done that. I looked him up, and he is alive and well, and still living in the Bay Area of California. I don't know how he's still alive because he was so heavy on the drugs and hard drugs back then. And when anyway, and the other one, the man who abused me when I was age 5 to 12, is in prison for doing it to 5 other children. And I never told anyone this except my mom and I didn't tell her till I was 15-ish. So she had no idea what was going on. And I just recently told my brother, about all of it just within the last few months. And he brought up some things that were different. He wasn't abused, but, the man who was doing the abusing had 2 babies, boys. And my brother said that those boys acted weird towards him, in a manner that was inappropriate. I have to be very careful with my words here. So I took care of my mom for 10 years. I was there every day. And she died when I was 28. And if there is one mistake that I've made here on YouTube, it was using the word inheritance. I wish I never used that word, because when you say inheritance, people think of everything being handed to you, for free. So let me rephrase that. When my mom passed away, I took over the mortgage on the house, along with all of the repairs and renovations that needed to take place. I took over the mortgage and I paid it off myself with my own money. That is the wording I would have used, as opposed to inheritance. And several years passed by. I had a significant other, a partner, who was using me for free rent. That's as simple as it is. She was a roommate for free rent. There was not a lot of intimacy. And the only thing she paid for was cable TV because I refused to pay for it. And she refused to do anything. She refused to cook or clean, mow the lawn, dust, walk the dogs, give the dogs attention, anything. I remember one time my dog had an accident and she left it there and she said, "Your dog had an accident." It was there all day and she didn't pick it up and she said, "It's not my dog." Absolutely completely self-absorbed. And whenever I said, "What about me?" and her response was always, "I got to look out for number one. That's me. And it's not my responsibility to make you happy. And you don't spend enough money on me." And just ridiculous things. "You don't take me anywhere." But she never took me anywhere either. In fact, in the 8.5 years we were together, she took me out for dinner once, which was paid for with a gift card by her father. She never took me out anywhere in 8.5 years. I took her on vacations. I sent her on vacations. I paid for it. Free everything. I was used. She wanted me to quit YouTube. She didn't want anyone to know who I was. She didn't want to be on camera. She didn't want me to succeed at anything. She literally wanted me to quit both my jobs and just be at home all day, which was weird. And then you fast forward little while after that, and my brother decided he wanted the money from the house that I had already made. My mother verbally told me she wanted it to stay in the family. She wanted me to have it. And then when I passed on, go to any grandkids. My brother's children weren't born at that time. And I had assumed that she had the same conversation with my brother. Well, I guess either she did or she didn't. It doesn't matter. He wanted his half. And our Aunt Pam had a 20% stake in the house too. I did try to buy my brother out. At the time, the house was valued at $732,000. I offered $200,000. He said no. I offered $300,000. He said no, which is $17,000 more than we made each. Then, and my mother we were poor growing up. You know, no, a single mother, no child support. She filled vending machines for a living. I went to bed hungry. I went to bed cold. I had to skip meals because there was no food in the house. I couldn't play the sports I wanted to. Sometimes I had to wear old clothes that had holes in them, and I got made fun of all the time. I was overweight. I weighed 212 pounds. I was overweight and I got made fun of. Nobody really showed me any love in my entire life, except for my mother. And you fast forward to now, and I bought this $67,000 house because it was all I could afford. I bought this house before the sale of my mom's house. And because my mom wanted that house to be passed on to the next generation, I decided that if I can't give them the house, I'm going to give them the money from the house. So my goal is that by the time I die, each of the children gets $283,000 each, and there's 4 of them. So I have to take that $283,000 and I have to quadruple it in 20 years. The only way to do that is in the stock market. This $67,000 house was paid for with my own money that I had saved over 10 years. I had some extra money left over after that because this was actually a much cheaper house. I had $104,000 in cash, not including my retirement accounts. And when my brother wanted to sell the house, ironically, I was looking for a rental property. And I bought this house. I fixed it up over the last 2.5 years. And now it's time for it to become what it was meant to be, and that is a rental property. Over the last 2.5 years, I've been saving my money because I live a frugal lifestyle. I'm different. I'm weird. I hate shopping. I don't like eating out. I don't like traveling. I prefer to spend time with my family, with my dogs, making YouTube videos, fixing things up to make them look nice. That is what brings me joy. And I like doing it for free or cheap, as cheaply as possible. And that brings me even more joy. So when the kids are older, they will not only have $283,000 each, they'll also each have, hopefully each, a rental property. That is my goal. Because I believe that money is meant to be enjoyed, but it's also meant, if you are a good steward of your money, it's meant to give. And people on YouTube, just based on the comments, think that I am a real a-hole. I mean, seriously, they think I am like the biggest jerk on earth. Let me tell you a few things about myself, okay? My book sales all goes to charity. All of it. Every penny of my book sales goes to charity. My Patreon supporters, all of it goes to charity. All of it goes to charity. My YouTube income, I live off of a little, and then I invest the rest for the next generation. Okay? So I'm not all about me. I think that it is my duty to make life easier for my family. I'm a giving person. I'm not a selfish person. I surprise people that give me good service with hundreds of dollars in tips. I volunteered at the food pantry, senior citizens centers. I've done Meals on Wheels. Anytime anybody needs a volunteer, I'm always there. Anytime anybody ever asks for help, I will be the first person. If you're at a gas station and you're out of gas, I'll be the first person to fill up your tank. If you need new clothes, I will not just give you the shirt off my back. I'll buy you a whole new wardrobe. If you're somebody who is close to my heart and in need. Christmas time, I give so many gifts to the needy, the poor children that can't afford gifts. And even if it says that you're only supposed to get them one gift on the list, I get them everything. Always. And that's not just one kid, that's like 10. I do it for like 10 kids, okay? She's over there, found a puppy in my backyard. I kept her because I know that the shelters here will give her to a family that's going to keep her out in 115-degree heat, because the laws here are if they have shade and water, it's okay. I know that she'll have a better life with me. Walks in love every day. I have been used by every person who has ever come into my life. Any friend I have ever had was not a friend. I told you guys a while back I had a roommate. I let him stay here rent-free so that he could get back on his feet. He trashed my room. He trashed it. Trashed the room and the bathroom. Wallpaper falling off. He was using chip clips all over the walls, and he hadn't vacuumed in 4 months. I went into the bathroom and there was like a small trail where you could walk, and the rest was covered in hair and filth and dirt. He used me for free rent. And he said he cared about me and we could be best friends and I don't want anything more from you. And as he walked out the door, he said some really inappropriate sexual things towards me, that he had been daydreaming about me and weird stuff. I had a best friend of 17 years who ghosted me, straight up ghosted me. He got a girlfriend. I was happy for him. I went to his wedding and he never returned one of my calls ever again. I had another friend, age 5 to 21, best friends, called every single day, talked to her every single day. Then one time the phone calls stopped. I showed up to her house and she said, I don't want to be friends anymore. Who does that after 17 years of friendship? I didn't do anything wrong. She just said, I don't want to be friends anymore. You know, these are things that happen to me. I have never had any love in my life except the love of my mother. And I took care of her for 10 years and I lost her. And then after I took care of my mom, I took care of my significant other who had a terminal illness. And then after she left me, I took care of my grandma who died of old age in a nursing home. I did everything for her that I did for my mom. Doctor's appointments, prescription medications. I went to her house every single day. I cooked, I cleaned, I did everything. And here I am on YouTube getting bashed for being a horrible person. Every single video, every single time. Makes me feel like I'm the worst person in the world. Like I have done nothing right with my life. Like nobody appreciates anything that I do. Anything. I tell you guys how to save money. If you don't invest that money and you just save money on a t-shirt so you can take a vacation in the Bahamas, I didn't do anything for you. You didn't save any money. You just didn't spend it on that and you spent it on that instead. You have to invest. You have to. If you want to die with dignity, if you want something to leave to your family, to your friends, to charity, to the next generation, even my dogs don't appreciate me. You have to save your money. And just because I have money, I'm a millionaire just because I live such a frugal life, such a frugal life. And for those who say that everything was handed to me in life, you don't know my life at all. You don't know the pain and the struggle and the horrible treatment that I've had to go through to get to where I am today. And sometimes I come off as bitter on my videos, or arrogant, or condescending. Please don't confuse confidence with arrogance. I am not arrogant. I am confident. Everything that I have said on this channel, to the best of my knowledge, has been the truth. It has been researched. And every single step that I tell you guys how to do in order to save money has worked time and time again. Please don't stop coming back. Please don't listen to those YouTubers who tell you just to make a quick investment here and you'll be a millionaire tomorrow. Please don't believe people who tell you that the stock market is going to crash forever and the economy is going to go into the dumps. Do the smart thing. live a life that makes you happy, but does not harm other people. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out.